I absolutely know that when you clicked on this video, you thought I was going to list some scrub with 3 appearances. So I'm up in the stakes. Who are the most forgettable Premier League footballers with over 200 Premier League appearances? Let me know what you think of my choices in the comments. If you know all of these, then you have, well, probably average Premier League knowledge, let's be honest. They've got over 200 appearances after all. Coming in first, he goes to the bathroom when he wants. It's Jason Punchin, or Mr. One Punch as he's known to his friends. He started his Premier League career with Southampton after being signed from Plymouth. His time at Southampton started out rough. He originally lost his spot at the club to Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he was sent out on a series of loans. This is where he got his first appearances in the Premier League, making 11 showings for a brave Blackpool squad in 2010-11. He made a massive 2 further appearances on loan with QPR. Before returning to Southampton, Tony Pulis singled him out and took him in as his ideal midfield general at Crystal Palace, trying to emulate another potential candidate for this list in Glenn Whelan. Here he made 153 of his 204 total appearances. He definitely had his best years here, scoring in a losing FA Cup final effort against Man United. He rounded out his career in the Premier League at Huddersfield before moving to Cyprus to end his playing career and start his very unsuccessful management career, getting sacked after only 1 month, winning 0 of 7 games for the Cypriot Giants, AEZ Zakakui. He also allegedly wielded his belt at a bouncer in a nightclub. So just your typical Premier League player affairs there. Ultimately, Punchin reminds me of a slightly more successful Jack Rodwell. Any career that achieves 200 Premier League appearances is a successful one. I do wonder, however, if his managers had not been Pulis, Pardew and Hodgson, whether he'd have gotten close to those numbers. Getting even a single Premier League appearance is something that every young up-and-coming footballer dreams of, so imagine getting over 200 of them and being called forgettable by some weirdo on YouTube. I'm sure that would ruin their day when they wake up in their mansion. Anyway, number 2 is the Austrian utility man. It's Paul Scharner. Scharner made all 221 of his appearances at the most glamorous of clubs of West-Brom and Wigan. He signed for Wigan for €2.5 million from Norwegian side SK Brann, which was their record transfer fee. He was actually a very solid player, playing regularly for the club during arguably their most successful spell in English football, and after joining West Brom on a free for a couple of years, he returned to Wigan on loan and played 90 minutes as they beat Man City in the FA Cup final, which led to the glorious scenes of Wigan in the UEFA Cup. His international career was much more contentious, with him being repeatedly banned and reinstated into the national side in Austria until being permanently banned in 2012 after he stormed out of his team's hotel after not being given guarantees of his role in the squad. From Wigan and West Brom to Wolves and West Ham. Matthew Jarvis was the son of 2 professional, number 1 ranked table tennis players. He was a steady and successful Premier League winger, representing both Wolves and West Ham in the Premier League for 3 seasons each, before rounding out his time in the Premier League with a short stint at Norwich. He also joined the elusive pantheon of English national players who received exactly 1 cap after being called up to the squad due to injuries to Theo Walcott and Adam Johnson. Man, the English squad really has come some way when you look at those options. Eric Peters was a mainstay for Stoke during their stretch in the Premier League, featuring as one of the classic left-back/centre-back hybrids, which was one of my favourite Tony Pulis archetypes. Peters, however, spent most of his Stoke career playing under Mark Hughes, where he was solid if unspectacular. The rest of his Premier League career was spent at Burnley, and his Wikipedia section for this period of time absolutely sends me, glossing over 3 years of football in the span of 2 sentences. On the 8th of July 2019, Peters signed for Burnley for an undisclosed fee. On the 10th of June 2022, Burnley announced Peters would leave the club at the end of June when his contract expired. Really, I think that sums it up. I can imagine the kind of player that Peters was, but outside of remembering that he was in everybody's fantasy football team for 1 year, I don't really have much more to say. 225 appearances, 1 goal, 13 assists. I want to say that Peters had the career of an old school fullback, but with some of the formations that Pep Guardiola was pulling this year, then he may actually have been ahead of his time. Cameron Jerome is perhaps the player that I feel the worst about putting on this list, but I feel like I couldn't pick on obscure defenders with every single pick. With no striker yet on this list, I went with who fit the bill best in my opinion. He was part of a yo-yoing Birmingham City squad in the late 2000s, getting promoted in his first season at the club before being immediately relegated in the following year, scoring 7 goals in the unsuccessful campaign. But they came straight back up, and he was part of the team who won the League Cup in 2011, downing Arsenal. I still remember my Birmingham supporting friend rubbing that in everyone's face in rural Ireland way back 13 years ago. Probably the only Birmingham supporting fan in Ireland at the time. Jerome then moved to Stoke, where he did not take particularly kindly to Pulis's method of squad selection, stating that there was a guaranteed 11 who would play no matter what. He also fell afoul of the FA for betting violations, being fined 50k. Ultimately, despite his dislike of Tony Pulis's methods, his departure also signalled the end for Cameron Jerome at Stoke, as he was loaned out to Crystal Palace before having one final season with Norwich. Ultimately, I feel like Jerome is the most notable of the 5. He sticks in my head as being one of the more notorious examples of a striker who was too good for the Championship, but not quite good enough to start in the Premier League. So that's my 5. Feel free to navigate the hell that is the Premier League stats page if you want to try and pick out some of your own choices. I think I did pretty decent here, keeping in mind that I tried to make a couple of slightly interesting choices and not just pick 5 centre backs. I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.